But I was a little concerned today, I'm going to be honest, when I saw Hillary Clinton bad-mouthing me, and she looked angry and actually scared and just completely unrelated. I want you to know, just in case you're wondering, I'm in perfect health. My brakes on my car are in good shape, and I'm not suicidal. And we're going to win this thing on Tuesday. I found out as she's pushing things like gender affirmation surgery, which is a nice way of saying mutilating our children. You know she's for that, right? And she's for it against mom and dad's will, behind mom and dad's back. I learned why today. We just found out her husband is a child psychologist who specializes in transitions for children. We found this out today. It makes sense now. It makes sense. Why would she push this stuff on our beautiful babies who are perfect? But her husband's making money, brainwashing our children into thinking they can be a different gender than they were born. It is sick, it is twisted, and we cannot let this monster anywhere near the governor's office, guys. And I wonder if the fake news will cover it. Katie Hobbs' husband is in the business of transitioning our children into a different gender. Let that sink in. The Jussie Smollett story, Nick Sandmann, Kyle Rittenhouse, Trump gassing protesters story, the Bubba Wallace story, and now the Hobbs office break-in story. All of these hoaxes have the same method of creation. Step 1, accuse a conservative. Step 2, repeat the lie. Media, here's where you come in. Step 3, spread that lie. Twitter is the perfect place for that one. Many of us on the right, myself included, fall victim to this gross, incompetent reporting tactic of the left. Just last week, Katie Hobbs accused me of orchestrating a Watergate-style break-in of her office. The media, who salivates over any opportunity to tear down conservatives, immediately pounced on her lies and ran them as truth.
Stunning developments in the countdown to Election Day as early ballots are already being counted as we speak.
Burglary at Katie Hobbs' campaign headquarters.
Hobbs's Trump-backed Republican opponent, Kari Lake.
It's a direct result of Kari Lake and fringe Republicans.
The secretary has faced hundreds of death threats.
So this person must have known that what they were looking for.
Well, the real truth has come to light, and I, along with my team, have been vindicated. Not only did we have absolutely nothing to do with that crime, the left's owned dead-end policies are to blame for crimes like this. What we have here is a repeat offender, a career criminal who is here in our country illegally. And now the media is forced to correct themselves. You may say, well, Kari, they did get it right and they corrected the story. What does it matter? Well, the truth matters. How many people filled out their ballot during the time period that the fake news media was painting me as a Nixon-style burglar?
Well, I'm not a crook.
It's bogus stories like this that have completely stripped any legitimacy away from the media. We are going to win big on November 8th, and I'm going to be the media's worst nightmare. Are you ready? And so I want you to take the same vigor you put into the story, the lies that were spread yesterday, and I want to make sure you guys, I saw last night, Fox 10 News, my old employer, wow, they actually did more to protect the criminal in this case. They blurred his face. They protected Katie Hobbs because they're carrying her water. And they defamed me. They put defamatory statements, lies about me. And the reason they did that is because this was the real news yesterday that none of you wanted to cover. We're 11 points up. You're in a frenzied panic because your chosen candidate is not winning. You didn't want to cover this, so you had to run with a completely garbage bullshit story. Shame on each and every one of you. Shame on you. Now, we had an incident this morning at about 6:45 a.m. We have video. We have actually a photographic evidence of somebody rummaging through our campaign headquarters. And I believe it was Katie Hobbs. And I would like to show you that photographic evidence. I hope you'll cover this with the same vigor that you covered everything else. Now, we're laughing. I know this is a joke, obviously, in case you didn't figure it out. But what I'm trying to tell you is it's a joke what you guys are doing in the news. And the world should know that you guys are not serious journalists when you cover this garbage. Shame on you for trying to change the election results. I know, Joe, that your eyes hurt over there and you're too cool for school. Joe Dana doesn't even want to pay attention over here with 12 News, one of the worst instigators of fake news in town. This is the kind of garbage. This is the kind of garbage you guys spread. When I get to the questions, I will, Joe. But let me tell you, this was the real news yesterday, guys. 11 points up. Not a darn one of you covered it. I'm sure Fox 10, when they got the results of their poll, were shocked. They barely covered it as well. And it's really disappointing. And here's the story. It's Katie Hobbs' proposals and ideas that will have more crimes like this happening. It's not a joke when someone gets broken into. I know many people, we've been victims of crime, and we're going to see a lot more crime with Katie Hobbs' policies. Her policies to defund the police, to not support the police. She doesn't back our police. She actually denounces our police in order to get Planned Parenthood money. She voted against condemning rioters. The kind of policies Katie Hobbs is going to push on the people of Arizona is going to be so damaging. It's going to increase crime. And I hope that you guys will start covering some of her nonsense California-type socialist policies that will have us swimming in crime. And with that, I will take questions. If you have a question about this incident, I'd be happy to take them. I'm going to start over here with the Gateway Pundit.
As you know, this is another dishonest strategy from Katie Hobbs. It's actually a conspiracy theory, what they blame you of peddling. So we recently found out that Katie Hobbs and her sister, her twin sister Becky, they tried to help you in the primary. Apparently they were donating to Republican Trump-endorsed candidates, and they were doing this because they know the media is so hard on you guys. Can Arizona trust Katie Hobbs or the fake news media?
Well, we can't trust the fake news media, and we know that Hobbs isn't going to win because her policies are terrible. She's way down in the polls, and without these guys working on her campaign, she wouldn't have any good press out there. Obviously, her sister, I heard, voted for me, her twin sister, so she's smarter than Hobbs, than Katie Hobbs. And I did hear some video that I don't know who put it out of her talking about this plan, and she sounds much more articulate than Katie Hobbs herself. Maybe she should have run, because Katie Hobbs, sure enough, is a coward. She refuses to debate. She disrespects the people of this state by refusing to debate. She's willing to make up complete bogus stories. She knew that I had nothing to do with that break-in, and yet she perpetuated that lie. You guys all fell for it, and she knew you'd fall for it. Next question. Joe Dana. Let's go with Joe Dana, 12 News, who's so tired he can't even pay attention.
As we reported, Katie Hobbs' suggestion that you had something to do with it yesterday was unfounded. She had no evidence. Did you have evidence last night to suggest this was a Jussie Smollett case, that somehow she staged it?
I think you know what I was saying last night. I was pointing out that the media loves to run with these bogus stories that hurt conservatives. And they do it. No, let me answer. If you ask the question, let me answer. The media loves to run with bogus stories that hurt conservatives. And let me give you some examples. You love to smear Republicans. It's what you guys make your money off of. Thankfully, no one's watching you. Look what you did to Kyle Rittenhouse. You smeared him. Look what you did to Nick Sandmann, a teenage boy. You smeared him with no evidence. Same type of stuff, Joe. Same type of stuff. You smeared. I had evidence.
It was
yeah.
Staged?
I didn't say it was staged. I said it was a Jussie Smollett type story, a political story meant to hurt conservatives. And I did have evidence that was the case. You know why? The evidence I had was I had nothing to do with it, and I knew that. You did the same thing, shame on you, with Kyle Rittenhouse, Nick Sandmann. You spread Russiagate bullshit stories for 3.5 years and divided this country. Thank God your ratings are in the toilet. That's exactly where they deserve to be. Start being journalists. Stop spreading the garbage that the Arizona Democrat Party and Katie Hobbs and the Democrats are spreading, and start doing your job. Next question. Anybody? Sir, where are you? Who are you and what outlet are you with?
Yeah, Romain Fonseca. I work for the French news agency AFP, so I wanted to go back about last night. So obviously this is a very tense campaign, and there was an interesting question from one of your own voters who said, well, I want to vote for you, but I'm really worried about how to cast my ballot. And so what I would like to know is, if you win, are people going to be able to trust that you won fairly after you cast so much doubt on the electoral process here?
If I win, are people going to be able to trust the results? I'm worried about how the elections are run, because my liar opponent, who's willing to lie about this, is already incompetent. The Arizona Supreme Court called her incompetent. We've already seen levels of incompetency in the previous primary. where we ran out of Republican ballots in Pinal County. She's already messed up this race. I don't think she knows what she's doing. She's had her office shut down for 2 years. Are you reporting that, guys? Secretary of State's office closed for business for 2 years, except online because of COVID. Yeah, that's a fact. She's only showed up for work 19 days in 6 months. So I don't think her head's in the game to do the job and run the elections well. It's unfortunate, but we're going to turn it around, and we're going to make sure we get rid of loopholes for cheating, and we're going to make sure that every Democrat, Independent, and Republican in Arizona knows that we have fair elections. Got to do that. We won't have a country much longer. Thank you.
Hi,
who are you and who are you with?
Joe Roth, Washington Examiner. I wonder how you would suggest that we as the media cover this story. Were we supposed to ignore it? There wasn't a lot of information. We were trying to report it out. I'm just curious how you...
Yeah, you dig around and you wait. You realize you have enough experience, hopefully, to recognize what this is. Late in the game, 13 days out, desperate campaign because they're falling like a rock in the polls. Again, she got word that she's 11 points down. And you use some discernment and go, wait a minute, let's think of the motivation here. Pause before we run with this. Jeremy Dutta, who runs with it like it's crazy, like it's, oh my gosh, we got to get this out. Stop and think for a minute. Think if it makes sense. Dig around a little bit. Talk to your sources. Don't just run with it. And don't put it around like NBC News did. Boy, they were so eager to put these stories out there that I had something to do with it. Slow down, get your facts straight, press her. You know, she did get pressed today and she didn't want to talk about it. Isn't that funny? Yesterday she wants to spread this defamatory statement and you guys ran with it. It's defamatory, guys. It's defamatory. It's accusing me of being a criminal. Do you get that? Do you understand what a defamatory statement is? You all spread defamatory statements yesterday in an effort to influence the election. So stop and think. Is what I'm asking you to do. Use some discernment. Use some critical thinking about what's happening. That's how you cover it. Next question.
Carrie, I gotta push back.
I've got a
AZ
question
Central.
right here.
We did not quote
right here,
her claims
ABC
about
News.
you.
ABC News.
How can you stand here and say that?
I was wondering why you felt it was important to be here today as well, and just that this is all coming amid these reports of voter intimidation. If you had any take on that, if there's voters.
Well, Abe's here for a variety of reasons. He's going to be law and order, and we're going to restore some law and order in this state. Also, he's been the subject of defamatory reporting as well, and we're really tired of it. The people are you guys. The people are exhausted by the news you guys are spreading. They just want some honesty, and I know. Not everyone is a bad person here. I'm not accusing you of that. I know sometimes you take it back to the station. We used to say, it's not my sandbox, I just play in it, right? And you've got editors back there. Start pushing back. Start pushing back against these editors.